Okay, finally. Maybe it's too much. Everybody should be able to see. Yes, it's good. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Sunday Peace program. So today we are continuing our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5th, Chapter 14, the Great Fire of Material Enjoyment, and verse number 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So I was not able to come up with a rhyme for this shloka here. So it's a pretty difficult one. So we'll still try. Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit. Dhanam manebhyo va kakani kamatram. Yat kinchit va vidviveshi. Oh sorry, yad aparan yat kinchit va. Vidveshamiti vittashatayat. Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit. Dhanam mannebhyo va kakani kamatram. Apyaparan yat kinchit va. Vidvesham iti vittashatayat. Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit. Dhanam mannebhyo va kakani kamatram. Apyaparan yat kinchit. Va vidvesham iti vittashatayat.
Kvachinmito vyavaran yat kinchit.
Kvachinmito vyavaran yat kinchit.
Dhanam anebhyo va kakini kamatram.
Dhanam manebhyo va kakani kamatram.
Apyaparan yat kinchit va.
Yapyaran yat kinchit va.
Vidvesham iti vittasatyat.
Vidvesham iti vittashatayat. Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit. Dhanam manebhyo va kakani kamatram. Apyaparan yat kinchit va. Vidvesham iti vittashatayat. Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit. Dhanam anebhyo va kakani kamatram. Apyaparan yat kinchit va. Vidvesham iti vittashatayat.
Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit.
Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit.
Dhanam manebhyo va kakani kamatram.
Dhanam manebhyo va kakani kamatram.
Apyaparan yat kinchit va.
Apyaparan yat kinchit va.
Vidvesham iti vittasathyat.
Vidvesham iti vittashatayat. One more, Mataji.
Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit.
Kvachin mito vyavaran yat kinchit.
Dhanam manebhyo va kakani kamatram.
Dhanam manebhyo va kakani kamatram.
Apyaparan yat kinchit va.
Apyaparan yat kinchit va. Vidveshamati Vittashatayat. So we'll do word by word. Kvachit,
Kvachit.
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Mitaha,
Mitaha.
with one another.
With one another.
Vyavaran,
Vyavaran.
trading.
Trading.
Yat kinchit,
Yat kinchit.
whatever little bit.
Whatever little bit.
Dhanam,
Dhanam.
money.
Money.
Anyebhyaha,
Anyebhyaha.
from others.
From others.
Va,
Va.
or.
Or.
Kakani ka matram,
Kakani matram.
a very small amount, 20 cowries.
A very small amount.
Api,
Api.
certainly.
Certainly.
Apaharan,
Apaharan.
taking away by cheating.
Taking away by cheating.
Yat kinchit,
Yat kinchit.
whatever small amount.
Whatever small amount.
Va,
Va.
or.
Or.
Vidvesham,
Vidvesham.
iti,
Iti.
creates enmity.
Creates enmity.
Vittashatayat,
With the Satya.
because of cheating.
Because of cheating.
A translation by Srila Prabhupada. As far as transactions with money are concerned, if one person cheats another by a farthing or less, they become enemies. Purport. This is called samsara davanala. Even in ordinary transactions between two people, there is invariably cheating because the conditioned soul is defective in four ways. He is illusioned, he commits mistakes, his knowledge is imperfect, and he has a propensity to cheat. Unless one is liberated from material conditioning, these four defects must be there. Consequently, every man has a cheating propensity which is employed in business or money transactions. Although two friends may be living peacefully together, due to their propensity to cheat, they become enemies when there is a transaction between them. A philosopher accuses an economist of being a cheater, and an economist may accuse a philosopher of being a cheater when he comes in contact with money. In any case, this is the condition of material life. One may profess a high philosophy, but when one is in need of money, he becomes a cheater. In this material world, so-called scientists, philosophers, and economists are nothing but cheaters in one way or another. The scientists are cheaters because they present so many bogus things in the name of science. They propose going to the moon, but actually they end up cheating the entire public of large sums of money for their experiments. They cannot do anything useful. Unless one can find a person transcendental to the four basic defects, one should not accept advice and become a victim of material condition. The best process is to take the advice and instructions of Sri Krishna or his bona fide representative. In this way, one can be happy in this life and the next. A pretty strong purport by Srila Prabhupada today. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशेखर चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यो मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकां वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीरूपं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साधवेतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि नमिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So translations once more. As far as transactions with money are concerned, If one person cheats another by a farthing or less, they become enemies. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So today we'll talk about the purport in deep. So we talk about 4 defects of conditioned life, and then we discuss about Vedic knowledge and disciplic succession, followed by what is the real process of acquiring Vedic knowledge. So 4 defects of conditioned life. So basically Srila Prabhupada has said, this is actually said by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and quoted from Srila Prabhupada books, Vanchita Vanchaka Sampradaya. Therefore my Guru Maharaj used to say that the whole society is now combination of cheaters and cheated. The cheated want cheaters and cheaters take opportunity of the cheated. And that is the combination of the present day society. Somebody they want to be cheated, and there are some cheaters. So the whole society is combination of cheater and cheated. So basically, cheaters don't come on their own. Because people want to be cheated, so there are cheaters. So this is the important purport for all of us. So we should not blame that, oh, somebody is cheating me, especially in spiritual life, for example. Oh, somebody is cheating me or somebody is doing that. Because we want to be cheated, that's why Krishna makes some arrangement that we'll actually find some cheater who will cheat us. So we'll see about that. But see, here we are seeing that there is cheating about money or some material thing. There will be cheating here and there. Everybody has experience. Has anybody has experience which he has never been cheated in his life? Everybody has experience, right? Some form of other, we are always cheated. Even by our family members, we are cheated. Just forget about friends and other people, right? So in some form or another, we are always cheated, and everybody has a practical experience of that. So there is no denying that. But the problem is, cheating in spirituality is the biggest disservice to humanity. So for example, if somebody is actually very much distressed, a person, and wants to come to spiritual life, and he gets cheated over there, so that becomes a biggest disservice, because here is some person who wants to take up spirituality, and there he gets cheated. So that form of cheating is actually a biggest form of cheating, and we, especially here, we should be very much aware of that form of cheating. So we can help ourselves and we can help others also to save from this cheating which is going on in the present day world in Kali Yuga in the name of spirituality. So basically we'll see 3 forms of cheating in spirituality. So first is bogus guru. So this is what Srila Prabhupada actually writes in a letter. Of course, to search out guru is very nice. But if you want a cheap guru, or if you want to be cheated, then there will be many cheater guru. But if you are sincere, then you will have a sincere guru. People want to be cheated because they want everything very cheap. But just like we are asking people, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, so people think it is very difficult. It is botheration. And if somebody says, no, you do. Whatever nonsense you like, do. You simply take my mantra, they will like it. So this is what it is. So a bona fide spiritual master always adheres by the scripture. So he actually doesn't see a convenience of the modern age. Say for example, okay, so Srila Prabhupada has very simply given us 4 regulative principles. But if somebody says, no, you don't have to do all these things. So just come to me and pay me some $30-40 and take this mantra, and you are all become God in 6 months. So there are actually, my spiritual master Srila Shankartan Das Srila Gurudev, when he started his spiritual quest, he actually met with many such bogus gurus. So one actually told him that you give me $30 at that time, which was, he says, equivalent to 1 month's rent of his room. And then he gave some mantra and said, you keep on chanting this mantra and you will become liberated and your plane will take off. That's what the guru said. So mantra was something like Aing, Aing. So my spiritual master Srila Shankarsan Das Srila Gurudev, he kept on chanting this mantra. So, but plane never took off. Plane stayed on the ground only. So he writes something is not quite right. This is not actually spirituality, it is form of a cheating. Then he says, fortunately, then by the mercy of devotees, he met Srila Prabhupada. So then he actually got a real and sincere, then he got a real guru. It was only because of he was too much desirous and anxious to find a real guru. So, so that we'll talk about sometime later. So this bogus guru does not come on his own, because we are cheating in spirituality. That, for example, I want everything very cheap, even spirituality. Take an example, if I want to become an engineer or doctor, does it come to us very cheaply? We have to work day and night, especially in India, right? Day and night you have to work to get a good degree or to get even admission in a good college, right? We have all have experience. But when it comes to spirituality, it should come to me for free. I don't want to do anything. So, but we have to take education, we have to follow the principles, and we have to make some efforts, austerities, and say for example, I have to give some engineering entrance exam. So there is a syllabus. I have to follow a syllabus. I study according to syllabus, and then I get admission, and then I follow the course in the college, and then I become engineer. Same applies in spirituality as well. So there are certain steps to be followed, and if actually one follows them very sincerely without cheating it, so he will definitely make a progress in spirituality. But because many of the population do not want to follow that process, they are actually not sincere in their path of self-realization. They just want to make a show of self-realization, so they get a cheater gurus. So that's why you will see there are so many famous gurus in India, and I won't take name, please. Otherwise I will be out of the class. So, but we know that there are so many bogus gurus, especially in India, and they are doing a biggest disservice. And the complete blame does not go to them also, blame goes to people also who want to be cheated. So this bogus guru is actually very important. At least we need to be aware of here who is a bogus and who is genuine bona fide spiritual master. So this is the first step in progress of spirituality. Because if we take a wrong train, so you will go to the wrong station. So we won't go to the right station. So first step is taking a correct train and then sitting, and then you will reach the station. So if you want to go to Delhi, and if you take a train for Chennai, so you will go to Chennai, not Delhi. So this is an important point, that first, if we are sincere, so most importantly is how sincere we are. Are we really sincere to progress in spirituality, or we just want to make a show to has a status quo of the people? So if we are sincere, Krishna will send us a guru who will help us in the path. We don't have to find a guru. He will come on his own. But if we are cheater, so Krishna will send a cheater guru also. So we have to be very careful in our desire on spirituality, that am I really sincere, or I just want to make a show of spirituality to impress some people or something, or just as a status quo. So if that is the case, then we'll get cheater gurus. Or just doing some bodily exercises, I want some guru. So, but if you're really sincere that I really want to learn about spirituality, I'm suffering here in the material world, I really want a solution of it, then we'll get a genuine guru, automatically. So, Srila Prabhupada continues. So the thing is that they want to be cheated, therefore cheaters come. They don't want to undergo some austerity. Human life is meant for austerity, but they are not prepared to undergo austerity. Suppose some cheaters come, they say, oh, no austerity, whatever you like you do, you simply pay me and I will give you some particular mantra and you will become God within 6 months. And that is going on. So you want to be, if people want to be treated like that, the cheaters will come. So we should not blame that in the end that, oh, I got a wrong mentor or wrong guru or something like that. It was we only whose fault was that. So now the second point, so bogus guru we have seen. So the key point is we have to be very, very sincere in our desire to progress in Krishna consciousness or progress in spirituality. So then the bona fide guru or genuine guru will automatically come to help us. But if our desire is not sincere, then there are so many gurus outside. So we'll get one of them. See, bona fide guru is very rare. We are actually very fortunate to be in association of Srila Prabhupada and in the association of all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who are strictly following Srila Prabhupada. We are very, very fortunate. So though we see we have this guru, that guru, but if you see from the cosmic point of view, the whole universe point of view, having a pure devotee is extremely rare in the universe actually. So the opportunity that we have got, we should take it very seriously. Now the second case it is about the cheating is bogus incarnation. So this is actually very, this was very common and sometimes it is also common now, that we claim any strong person or any person who shows some miracles, right? Oh, he is God or he is incarnation of God. Many people do like that and they open the temples of him and they start worshipping him as God. Some prayers, some mantras they will chant. So they are all bogus incarnations, and Srila Prabhupada writes in this regard, the incarnation of Godhead must be indicated in the scriptures. Otherwise, we cannot accept him as being incarnation. Today there are so many bogus incarnations, but we do not accept them. The Supreme Lord can appear in this world at any time, but he does so according to the regular scheduled appearances mentioned in the Shastras. According to the Shastras, the last most recent incarnation was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared in West Bengal about 500 years ago. We are following in the direct line of disciplic teaching from him. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is clearly describing about genuine incarnation and the bogus incarnation. So if we just follow, see, we don't have to study the scriptures to understand who is incarnation, who is not incarnation. If we just follow the previous acharyas, whom they have designated as incarnation, so that makes our life very easy. So here Srila Prabhupada says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was incarnation of Krishna who came 500 years ago. So if we can just have the faith in the words of previous acharyas, so we don't have to do a research whether Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was incarnation or not an incarnation. So it actually saves our life and it saves our lot of time. So having faith in the previous acharyas is also a very, very nice qualification. So if we have a faith in the words of previous acharyas, see, it's not just Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you see all the acharyas from the beginning, Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have Ramanujacharya, we have Shankaracharya also, who actually says Narayana Parvavekta, Krishna was beyond this material world. So even though he was a leader of impersonalism. So, and then Vallabhacharya, so many acharyas, if they come to a common conclusion, then we can accept that conclusion. So because they are so learned, so scholar, and so great devotees, and if they are coming to a common conclusion, say Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, all of them came to a common conclusion, so there should be no hesitation in us to accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we don't have to do our research and waste time there. So it's a Mahajano yen gatha sa pantaha. So whatever path the great acharyas actually lay down, if we just follow the path, our actually progress in Krishna consciousness becomes very, very easy. So here again Srila Prabhupada continues about bogus incarnation. Another point is that the words of the Lord have been recorded in the Bhagavad Gita. So if some claiming to be incarnation but also contradicts the Bhagavad Gita, then we can be sure he is phony. Please try to read and understand my books very carefully. All these things are explained. So this Srila Prabhupada exactly saying. So if say somebody is incarnation and says Krishna is not Supreme Godhead, then he's actually contradicting the Bhagavad Gita. So we can directly say he's not incarnation. But Srila Prabhupada again emphasizes a very important point. See, this was a very, very important question asked by Dr. Santosh Kumar. And Srila Prabhupada says, please try to read and understand my books very carefully. All these things are explained. So reading Srila Prabhupada books regularly is very, very important. So no matter how much time you are able to assign in a day, but don't read haphazardly. Say, I read today and 1 week of break and then I'm reading again. Daily find some time here and there to read Srila Prabhupada books, and then all these things become very clear actually. Automatically they, just like when the sun comes and the fog goes away, so Srila Prabhupada books are like the sun, and the darkness and ignorance we see is like a fog. So the more and more we read Srila Prabhupada books, all these misconceptions, ignorance and doubts will automatically, slowly they will go away. Now another point Srila Prabhupada says about incarnations, bogus incarnations in Bhagavad Gita 11.3 purport. Krishna also understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criteria for in the future there would be so many impostors who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. The people therefore should be careful. One who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show his universal form to confirm his claim to the people. So when Krishna came, or when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, they did so many uncommon activities which is actually not possible for any common man to do. So if somebody claims to be Krishna, so just ask him, can you lift Govardhan hill? Or forget, can you just lift a small rock with your finger? Forget Govardhan hill only. So give him one big rock, okay, from there. Okay, just lift that rock with a finger. So then we'll think, okay, you have something in your claims. So here, this is a very important thing in the purport, because sometimes we ask, what was the necessity in Bhagavad Gita is actually such a concise literature. So what was necessity for Krishna to show his universal form? So but assume Krishna would not have showed the universal form, then people would have thought, oh, Krishna is a friend of Arjuna and Arjuna is just flattering Krishna by accepting Godhead. So here Krishna demonstrates that he is not saying he is God, he is proving also, demonstrating also he is God. So that's why, because if you see, the devotee of Krishna has no need to see a ghastly universal form. He says in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, in the end of 11th chapter, I am actually very much scared of this form. So please show me again your original form of two hands. So there was no need for Arjuna to ask Krishna to show the universal form, but Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport why Arjuna asked. Krishna understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criteria for in the future there would be many so-called impostors who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. So many things are going in Bhagavad Gita which we cannot even comprehend. So Krishna wants to Krishna wants to speak Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna wants to clarify his doubt. Arjuna at the same time wants to make sure that whole world understands Krishna as the supreme, and at the same time everyone wants to make sure that we understand Bhagavad Gita as well. So many things are going on in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So now third point is bogus literature. So we saw bogus guru, bogus incarnation, and third that we need to be very careful about is bogus literature. So this again is from the Srila Prabhupada purports. Canto 2nd, chapter 5, text 15. According to Vedanta Sutra, Shastra Unitvad, the Supreme Lord is the author of all revealed scriptures, and all revealed scriptures are for knowing the Supreme Lord. Veda means knowledge that leads to the Lord. The Vedas are made just to revive the forgotten consciousness of the conditioned souls, and any literature not meant for reviving God consciousness is rejected at once by the Narayana para devotee. Such deluding books of knowledge, not having Narayana as their aim, are not at all knowledge. Any book of knowledge, science or art, must lead to the knowledge of Narayana, otherwise it must be rejected. That is the way of advancement of knowledge. So the criteria of understanding whether a scripture is a bona fide scripture, it will give me knowledge of Krishna consciousness or not, is very simple. If the scripture has the end goal as Krishna or Narayana or Supreme Lord, then that's a bona fide literature. And that scripture also describes the genuine method to progress in the path, it's a bona fide literature. So if we see in that light, the Quran, Bible, they are all bona fide literatures because their ultimate goal is love of God. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita is a bona fide literature. So but any other book on spirituality which is very much prominent these days, if you go to these shops, right, so you will see tons of books on spiritual knowledge. So but if they don't have Krishna as the goal and they don't define an authorized path to achieve that goal, so all such books must be rejected. So it's a very simple criteria where Srila Prabhupada says any book of knowledge, science or art must lead to the knowledge of Narayana, otherwise it must be rejected. So no difficulty in deciding which is a book which will help in progress of spirituality or not. So if the end goal is Narayana or Krishna and it contains a genuine steps authorized by the acharyas to progress on that path, it's a bona fide book even though it's not properly composed. But any other book who is very flashily composed and a great cover page and very thing, but if the end goal is not Krishna, then it must be rejected. So my Guru Maharaj still says, so in the old times before Prabhupada came, there were many books like that. So one book was The Book. The title of book was The Book. So the author claimed this is the only book you need to learn or read, and you have all doubts clarified. And he himself was confused in the end. So we have to be very, very careful in deciding what we are reading. So if you see, to be honest, right, Srila Prabhupada has given us so many books, it's not possible to read them in our lifetime. So one devotee asked Prabhupada, so what if I finished reading all your books? Prabhupada says, start again. So if you see, right, even so we need this whole life to read over and over Srila Prabhupada books. And it's quite amazing. For example, if you're reading Bhagavad Gita, so every reading of Bhagavad Gita and every reading of purport of Srila Prabhupada gives a new meaning. And you are quite amazed with the understanding. So that is quite amazing. That don't think that I have finished Bhagavad Gita. You start again and get a new taste. So that's why the Krishna consciousness is Nava Nava Rasa, newer and newer taste. Even by reading Bhagavad Gita again and again and again and again, the new things keep on coming. So I remember when I first time read Bhagavad Gita, I actually couldn't understood any of Srila Prabhupada purports. So I thought it's a pretty complicated book. I could not understand Bhagavad Gita as it is. So translations I could understood a bit, but purports were beyond my understanding. Then slowly and slowly, by association of devotees and by constantly reading, then I started realizing such a small purport and the whole philosophy is mentioned in the purport. So deep meaning in the purports. So now if we realize those realizations of Srila Prabhupada, when I read them again and I actually try to understand something from those purports, I become very happy. That at least now I'm understanding something about the Srila Prabhupada purports. So three things we learned. Bogus gurus, we have to be careful. Bogus incarnation, it's very easy. And bogus literature. So it's also very easy to understand. So if we can just take care of these three things, we can save ourselves from getting cheated in spirituality. And one thing is, don't mistake that we are in ISKCON and so we cannot get cheated. See, there are many devotees who are new devotees, including myself, right? All are at the beginning stage. So unless we become pakka in Krishna consciousness in ISKCON, there is always a possibility of getting influenced by some external ideas and external thoughts. So that's why we have to. That's why Srila Prabhupada here says, please try to read and understand my books very carefully. The moment we give up reading Srila Prabhupada books, so that day marks our downfall in Krishna consciousness. So please don't think that I am in ISKCON, I am safe. We have to be always on guard. There are so many things going on outside. We have to be always careful and in the association of devotees. So otherwise, attack can happen anytime from outside and we'll just find ourselves outside of ISKCON. Now the question arises, why cheating propensity is there in the first place itself? Why people cheat one another? So here, which Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, to become cheater is one of the conditions of material life. The four defects which Srila Prabhupada talked in the purport are: one, senses are imperfect; one must be illusion; one must commit mistakes; and one must cheat. These are the four qualifications of the materialistic person. So because a conditioned soul is conditioned by the law of nature, so these four defects is bound to have these four defects. So we can see examples. Imperfect senses. So can you see what is going out beyond this room? So which car is going or which person is going? See, we cannot see. And assume in the night it becomes completely pitch dark. Can you see anything at all? Nothing, right? So we are conditioned by an external light to see ourselves. So we do not have an independent power of sight. So we need some external help so that we can see things. So we can claim our senses are imperfect. Our senses need some external assistance so we can do things. So this was very easy example to understand. So we can understand the senses, our senses are actually not perfect. So, and now, yeah, and another example Srila Prabhupada gave. See, take a case, we are seeing the sun, right? So we can see that's a plate, a small plate somewhere there. But assume if some teacher or some authoritative person in science does not say, sun is huge, it's so far from the earth, it's so hot, its distance is so much, it's so big, so many bigger than Earth. So our understanding will be it's a small ball over there and it's throwing some light and it's a small plate kind of thing. So we actually learned from some person who was authorized in that knowledge about the real nature of the sun. So that's how we understood the nature of the sun. Otherwise, if you ask a child, he doesn't know, oh, such a nice ball. So that's why, because our senses are imperfect, we cannot understand that the sun, the real position of sun outside. So we go into illusion. And what happens in the illusion is, we see I am accepting this body as self, I am spirit soul, I am Brahmasmi, but we are giving identification with this body. I am Indian, I am American, I am Brahmana, I am Shudra, so this is illusion. So now, because we see each other, I am seeing you, you are seeing me, right from the childhood. And there is no authority to say that you are not the body, but you are spirit soul beyond the body. So we stay in an illusion that we are the bodies. So just like if there is no authority to say the real nature of the sun, we will stay in illusion that sun is a small disk out there. So similarly, because there is really no authority who can explain the difference between the body and soul outside, so 99% of the population stays in the illusion that I am the body, because that's what we are seeing and experiencing. So because there is no authority who can actually dispel this illusion or doubt. So because of the imperfect senses, we go into illusion. And the biggest illusion is I am the body, but I am not the spirit soul. And committing mistakes. So to err is human. So however one man may be great, he must commit mistakes. This is called conditioned life. There is no man in this world who can say that I never committed any mistake. Is there any man? No, that is not possible. This is statement of Srila Prabhupada only. I actually forget to mention the from where I picked up. So again, right, we know from our experience, everybody commits mistakes. We also commit mistakes. But if you're arrogant, we'll say, I don't commit mistakes, but we know we all commit mistakes. So because we are in illusion, we don't know the things as they are, it's quite natural that we'll commit mistakes. Because we don't know the things as they are. So first thing is, because we have imperfect senses, because of the imperfect senses, we go into illusion, point 2. Now because we are in illusion, we actually commit mistakes. And because we have a tendency to commit mistakes, we actually cheat others. So because we commit mistakes, so that's why the cheating propensity comes. So that's what Srila Prabhupada says. If you read we'll read here. Cheating propensity means he has no perfect knowledge, still he wants to give knowledge to become famous in the world, to famous in the community. So what is the value of your writing books if you have no perfect knowledge? So many rascal philosophers and scientists, they have no knowledge, accurate knowledge, but they are writing books. This is cheating. If you do not know what is what, why you are misleading others by writing books? No, he is making money, so cheating. So it's very clear. So if somebody is conditioned by the material life, he is bound to have these 4 defects, including the cheating propensity, including the illusion, all the 4 defects. So if somebody has all these defects, he cannot give any perfect knowledge. It's a pretty common sense, right? If somebody has all these defects, how can we expect him to give a perfect knowledge of things as they are? It's not possible. So that's another criteria. So if we want to get knowledge from someone, it's a pretty straightforward criteria. Whether he's bound by the material world, like if you see many philosophers and scientists, they're giving so many knowledge. But should we really take that knowledge in toto as a final authority? That we can decide based on this. So to summarize, imperfect senses leads to illusion. Illusion leads to tendency to commit mistakes, and then which actually leads to the cheating propensity. So now the question arises, so from where to get the real knowledge now? So if almost 99.99% of population is conditioned by the modes of nature, and there are so many books out there, and they might be giving not perfect knowledge, so the question naturally arises, so then is there a way to get a perfect knowledge at all? Or we can't get a perfect knowledge in this world at all? So that's where the Vedic knowledge comes into picture. So we'll see about this. So in the Vedic knowledge, we'll see how it is. There is no cheating, there is no imperfection, there is no illusion, there is no error. That is Vedic knowledge. So this from the purport of Srila Prabhupada, Ishlopanishad 1. Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession of spiritual masters, beginning with the Lord himself. Since he spoke the first word of Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. The words spoken by the Lord are called aparusheya, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. So basically here we are finding, since the Lord himself spoke the first words of Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. So where Sripad Shankaracharya says, Narayano paro avyaktat. Lord Krishna is beyond this material world, and aham evasam evagre. So Krishna says in second canto, I existed before the creation. So it's quite obvious, if Krishna existed before the creation and he's speaking something, so those words are also beyond the creation. Those words are not part of the creation. Anything which is part of the creation is imperfect. But anything which is existing prior to creation is perfect. So that is beyond those four defects. Because Krishna was existing prior to creation, so Krishna's words are not part of this creation. So that's why Prabhupada says here, since he spoke the first word of Vedic knowledge, the source of Vedic knowledge is transcendental. So we can understand that whatever Krishna is speaking is transcendental because Krishna is not part of this material world. So anything spoken by Krishna, being not part of this material world, is beyond those four defects that we just saw. So that's why Prabhupada says many times, the words spoken by Lord are called aparusheya, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. So all the Vedic knowledge that comes, the source of Vedic knowledge is Krishna, and because Krishna is not part of this creation, Krishna existed before the creation. Aham evasam evagre, aham sarvasya prabhava. Everything came from me, including this created world. So we can understand whatever speeches he gives, whatever knowledge he gives, it's actually beyond any contamination. So that is one way of understanding how to accept Krishna's speech as a source of perfect knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada again continues, Vedic knowledge was originally imparted by Lord into the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples who have handed it down through history. This we'll see again later under disciplic succession. So Prabhupada again explains about the Vedic knowledge and how it comes from Krishna. No, Veda is not like that. Veda is coming directly from Narayana, and Narayana means God. God was existing before the creation. Because God created, therefore God existed before creation. So whatever we get out of this created world, that is not Veda. If some person, great philosopher of this material world, he says, I believe, and he writes something that is nonsense, that is not Veda. Because he is a created being, and as a created being he has got four defects. The most important defect is that his senses are imperfect. Therefore by sense perception, by so-called mental speculation, whatever he creates, that is defective. That is not perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge is there, Veda, because Vedas existed before the creation. And whatever there is within the creation, they are imperfect. So this is a very, very easy to understand. The Vedas existed before the creation because Krishna existed before the creation. And anything which is part of this creation is imperfect. So any knowledge which is coming from the creation is bound to be imperfect. So this is what we have to understand. The Vedas are therefore called aparusheya, or not imparted by any created being. Before the creation the Lord was there, Narayana paro avyaktat, and therefore the words spoken by Lord are vibrations of transcendental sound. So we can immediately come to conclusion. Thus we can understand that Bhagavad Gita is a source of perfect knowledge because beyond any defects, as it is spoken by Lord himself. So this is a very, very important understanding in actually learning the science of Bhagavad Gita. If we can just have this faith and conviction that the words of Bhagavad Gita are perfect, they contain a perfect knowledge. Even though we may not be able to understand, that's our fault. But the words spoken in Bhagavad Gita are absolutely perfect and beyond the four defects. That's our beginning of Bhagavad Gita reading. And then we can enter into mysteries of Bhagavad Gita. But if we doubt that may or may not be true, may or may not be okay, then we may never enter into the mystery of Bhagavad Gita. So if we think that we are not able to understand Bhagavad Gita, so it means that we are missing that conviction, we are missing that faith that the words spoken by Krishna are beyond the four defects. So if we can just have that faith, okay, so I don't understand Bhagavad Gita, but I have that faith, okay, Krishna existed before the creation, so his words are transcendental. So whatever he is speaking is beyond all the defects. So now let me try to understand by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada's purports what Krishna is actually talking. So if at least we can start this much, so we are on the right path to understand Bhagavad Gita, else we'll spend whole life will not understand Bhagavad Gita as it is. Even though as it is, we won't understand it at all. So it's a very, very important at how we approach Bhagavad Gita. So, and this is the first point. So disciplic succession will come again, but one important point I want to make, because Krishna is beyond defect, so any soul fully surrendered to Krishna, that is pure devotees, are also beyond defects by the mercy of the Lord. This is a very, very important point. We should not say that, okay, only Krishna is beyond defects, but devotees will have defects. But Prabhupada says, and it's there in the scriptures, Krishna also says, as Lord is beyond four defects, so any soul fully surrendered unto the Lord, that is pure devotee, is also beyond four defects by the mercy of Lord. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport 2.4.11, the Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannavishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. No one is free to act freely and independently, and as such one should always seek the permission of Lord to act or eat or speak, and by the blessing of the Lord everything done by a devotee is beyond the principles of the four defects typical of the conditioned soul. So this is a very, very important point for us. It's easy to accept the fact that the statements of Krishna are beyond four defects, but to be honest, it's pretty hard to believe that the statements of devotees like Srila Prabhupada are also beyond four defects. So that is very, very important to have that faith also. So if someone is a pure devotee of Krishna like Srila Prabhupada, and who is completely a soul surrendered to Krishna, so by the mercy of Krishna, whatever he speaks, whatever he acts, whatever actions he performs are beyond the principles of four defects. So because we are not fortunate as Arjun to learn Bhagavad Gita directly from Krishna. But if we can have this faith that, okay, if the purports of Srila Prabhupada are also beyond defects, then we are on the say bullet train actually to understand Bhagavad Gita, or maybe a plane, bullet train, I don't know it. So that's what you have to understand. So actually, I also, when I started, right, I had a faith in the words of Krishna, but not in the face of Srila Prabhupada. But I was such a fool, to start with. So, but now, at least by the devotee's mercy and by Krishna's mercy, that doubt is gone. So if we all can actually get rid of that doubt on the statements of Srila Prabhupada, so then I think our progress in Krishna consciousness is pretty easy. My spiritual master says Krishna consciousness is easy for the simple and difficult for the crooked. Path of Krishna consciousness is not difficult at all. It's a very simple path. If we can just have the Shraddha, that faith in the words of Prabhupada and faith in the words of Krishna, everything will be taken care of. But if we have doubts, then I think we have no position. So this is the last line, is important from the purport. By the blessings of the Lord, everything done by devotees is beyond the principles of the four defects typical of the conditioned soul. So basically we can conclude, one who is acting in Krishna consciousness is beyond these four defects. So we are not talking about pseudo devotees. We are talking about devotees who are sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness. Not the devotees who are just wearing tilaka and kantimala and posing themselves as devotees. They are still conditioned. But even if we are in the modes of nature, but if we are sincerely trying to follow that path of Krishna consciousness, so by Krishna's mercy, our words will also be beyond defects. So just sincerity is the key all the time. So when we receive knowledge from the person who is transcendental to all these four kinds of defects, that is perfect knowledge. So if we can just have this conviction that the knowledge given in the Srila Prabhupada books is actually perfect knowledge, so whole problem is solved. And Srila Prabhupada has left so many books and so many different ways of explaining the same subject matter. Be a neophyte, be a learned scholar, everybody as per his intelligence can understand this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So everybody can actually tune into this internet of Krishna consciousness from anywhere. Now it's a very important. We understood the point of Bhagavad Gita, right? Bhagavad Gita is actually spoken by Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita is naturally beyond defects. So sometimes a doubt may arise about Bhagavatam. So now we see the position of Bhagavatam actually. What is the position of Srimad Bhagavatam? So this is again from the Canto 2nd purports. Canto 2nd is really amazing. So many quotations are there. The statements of Srimad Bhagavatam are accepted by great acharyas like Sridhar Swami, Ramanujacharya and Vallabhacharya. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically accepts Srimad Bhagavatam as a spotless Vedic authority, and as such, no sane man can ignore the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam when it is spoken by self-realized soul like Srila Shukadeva Goswami, who follows in the footsteps of his great father Srila Vyasdev, the compiler of all Vedic literatures. So from this, just a few sentences, Srila Prabhupada actually dispels all the doubts that may have about Srimad Bhagavatam. See, Srimad Bhagavatam was composed by Srila Vyasadeva, who is actually literally incarnation of Krishna, and he is obviously a liberated soul. If we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand. So, in the first canto, first chapter, verse 2, it is said, Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krutamuni. In one of the lectures, Srila Prabhupada says, because Srila Vyasa is Trikalanya, he knows past, present, and future. And there are many instances in Bhagavatam that we can understand a future predictions in Bhagavatam, like the appearance of Lord Buddha. Not just appearance, it was said where he will be born and who will be his mother. And that was spoken 5,000 years ago, and Lord Buddha came 2,500 years ago. So this was very clear example in Bhagavatam, and there are many things we can find in Bhagavatam, predictions of the future. So that way we can see Vyasadeva was actually seer of past, present and future, everything. So it's not just in theory that Srila Vyasadeva was beyond the defects. We can see from his explanations in Bhagavatam, what he has put down, all the statements about the future, we can understand that he was actually in full knowledge of past, present and future. And every authority, Vallabhacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sridhara Swami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all accept Srimad Bhagavatam as a spotless Puran. If you see Chaitanya Charitamrita, 50% of Chaitanya Charitamrita is Srimad Bhagavatam only. All the references in Chaitanya Charitamrita are from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I think that's another. So we should not doubt the statements of Bhagavatam also. So basically the conclusion is, all the Vedic literatures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam are free from 4 defects and the source of perfect knowledge. Scriptures such as Chaitanya Charitamrita are also free from 4 defects because Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the compiler of Chaitanya Charitamrita, is a perfect, pure devotee of Krishna and beyond 4 defects. So that is also a scripture. Chaitanya Charitamrita is also a scripture. Now the key point for us is, on the same lines, Srila Prabhupada books and purports are free from all defects and source of perfect knowledge. So this is what we need to have conviction. See, Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam, if you just remove the Srila Prabhupada purports from there, it's just impossible for us to understand. Can you understand the Sanskrit of Srimad Bhagavatam? We cannot even understand, even though forget about Bhagavatam, even Bhagavad Gita, the Sanskrit is so simple, but if we don't follow that Sanskrit through the purports of Srila Prabhupada, we will come to the wrong conclusion. We won't even understand the Sanskrit of Bhagavad Gita. So forget about understanding Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, there is a very interesting thing that happens. In the beginning of 2nd canto, where Srila Shukadeva Goswami appears on the scene where Maharaja Parishit is fasting for death. So then he is about to now explain, recite the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are some few early conversations between them, and then Maharaja Parishit asks some more about. So Maharaja Parishit, in the beginning of 2nd canto, he asks, now because you are knower of all the truths, you are now beyond all the defects, please explain to me the process of creation and by whom it is created, by whom it is sustained and by whom it is destroyed. He asked this specific question about the process of creation. And then you know what happens. Then the few 20 verses after that are actually not the process of creation. In those 20 verses, Srila Shukdev Goswami offers prayers to Krishna, glorifies him and seeks his blessing so that he can explain the knowledge what he has learned from Srila Vyasadeva. Because he understands at that point of time that now whatever he is going to speak, it will be for whole universe to understand, not for just between him and Maharaj Parikshit. So he was begging Krishna, give him strength so he can speak as it is, and give everybody strength so they can understand as it is. So those 20 verses before he actually starts to speak about the creation. So if you see, fifth chapter is process of creation, and I think fourth is cause of all causes in second canto. And when in second and fourth chapter, everything is all about the glorification of Krishna and begging of Srila Shukdev Goswami to Krishna, please give me strength so that I can speak on this subject matter. So he is actually begging like that, because he's not for himself. So he can recite Bhagavatam as it is what he heard from Vyasadeva, but for the benefit of all. So we understand from that, we understand the humility of Srila Shukdev Goswami. He was such a great scholar, great learned devotee. He didn't say that now I can go and speak about the process of creation. He was 20 verses, he was just begging and begging and begging. And in actually one of the verses he says, please decorate my statements. He begs to Krishna. It's a pretty amazing, if you can read the second canto, fourth chapter, those prayers, they are really good. So now you see, right, now in the modern age, it's not possible to understand Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or Bhagavad Gita on our own intellect. It's not possible, right? So just imagine the contribution of Srila Prabhupada. If the Srila Prabhupada purports were not there, we couldn't have understand those scriptures at all in the first place. So that's why when Srila Prabhupada says that he has been actually inspired by Krishna to write, so that's actually a great humility of Srila Prabhupada. So we can never ever repay our debt to Srila Prabhupada. Assume Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have been there, so even though Bhagavatam was there, that was out of our reach. So the Srila Prabhupada actually bridged the gap between Shukdev Goswami and all the previous acharyas and all the coming generations. So he actually bridged that gap from all the Vedic teachings and actually modern understanding of all the coming generations. Prabhupada acted as a bridge. So all the teachings of Vedic knowledge became available for everyone in an easy to understand manner. And we know, because Prabhupada is a pure devotee of Krishna, so his speech are beyond defects. So that is the biggest contribution of Prabhupada. That otherwise, assume if Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have been there, all this knowledge would have lost, gone into oblivion. And yeah. So with one more point that we'll see, everybody know, the process comes, so the knowledge spoken by Krishna speaks the knowledge to Brahma, Tene Brahma Ridhaya Adi Kaviye. So when Brahma wants to create it, the universe, the knowledge was imparted to Lord Brahma within the heart from Krishna. Brahma imparted to Narada. And that's also a very interesting conversation in the fourth or fifth chapter or fifth chapter. And then Brahma gave it to Narada. Narada passed it on to Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva to Shukdev Goswami, and he's speaking Bhagavatam. So that's the process of disciplic succession. So passing the knowledge as it is. Now let's talk about us. The process of acquiring that knowledge. Now the knowledge is there, we are there. How to get the knowledge in the first place? How to benefit from that knowledge? So this question, many skeptics and many devotees who don't want to follow the path sincerely say this. Can I just read the Vedic literatures and acquire perfect knowledge and become perfect? Or say, yeah, can I read my Bhagavad Gita on my own? Or can I read any scripture on my own without actually coming into the parampara? The knowledge is there, right? If I read Bhagavad Gita, so for example, if you read Bhagavad Gita as an initiated devotee, and if somebody is reading Bhagavad Gita like that, it's the same thing, same words, right? So both should get the same benefit. That's a common sense, right? If two students are studying for the exam, same thing, so they'll be almost the same, right? So it's a pretty common sense. So if the books are there, so why I need this all parampara and guru and all those things, right? I can read the books, I can understand the books, I can try to clarify the doubts, everything, and I can also become perfect. So why there is a need to associate with devotees, take initiation, get inducted into the parampara and all that? So one thing we have to understand, the Vedic knowledge is not a material knowledge. So we cannot compare the Vedic knowledge with the material knowledge. So in the material knowledge, we can still acquire by reading books on our own. Maybe most of you have done in the college. So teachers are not good, so we read on our own. But in the Vedic knowledge is quite different thing altogether. Because the Vedic knowledge is beyond material knowledge, beyond this material world, so the Vedic knowledge is transcendental. So there is no comparison on, if I am getting a knowledge from a standard book like some science or arts, so I will also can get a same knowledge from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. So that understanding is wrong. So we'll see how. So here again this from the second canto, 4th chapter. Prabhupada says, the Vedas are therefore called aparushya, or not imparted by any created being. Before the creation, the Lord was there, and therefore the words spoken by the Lord are vibrations of transcendental sound. There is a gulf of difference between the two qualities of sound, namely prakrata and aprakrata. The physicist can deal only with the prakrata sound, or the sound vibrated in the material sky, and therefore we must know that the Vedic sounds recorded in the symbolic expressions cannot be understood by anyone within the universe unless and until one is inspired by the vibration of a prakrata sound. So Prabhupada says, even though the Vedic sounds are recorded in symbolic expressions, cannot be understood anyone within the universe unless and until one is inspired by the transcendental sound. So unless and until, so this is the key point. Material knowledge I can understand by reading the books, by doing some experiments. But the Vedic knowledge, unless and until I get an inspiration from a transcendence, unless I get that inspiration from transcendence, I won't be able to understand Vedic knowledge, even though I may do PhD in that knowledge. But I won't understand the import of that knowledge. So this is the difference between the Vedic knowledge and the material knowledge, that to understand the Vedic knowledge, the main important requirement is to get an inspiration from the transcendence himself. Unless there is an inspiration from transcendence, we cannot understand Vedic knowledge, no matter how big scholar we become of the Vedic knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada again says, no mundane scholar can translate or reveal the true import of Vedic mantras or hymns. They cannot understand unless one is inspired or initiated by the authorized spiritual master. The original spiritual master is the Lord himself, and the succession comes down through the sources of parampara, as clearly stated in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So unless one receives the transcendental knowledge from the authorized parampara, one should be considered useless. Nishphala mata. Even though one may be greatly qualified in the mundane advancements of arts and science. So this is a very, very important point. So unless we attach ourselves to the parampara, we are actually outside of that mercy of transcendence. So unless we get the inspiration of the transcendence, the Vedic knowledge is beyond our reach, even though Prabhupada says, even though one may be greatly qualified in the mundane advancements of art and science, but unless one receives the transcendental knowledge from authorized parampara, one should be considered useless. And why knowledge from authorized parampara? Because parampara is beyond 4 defects, and because as Krishna can give inspiration of transcendental sound from within, so the parampara and the spiritual master also gives that inspiration of transcendental sound from within. So that is the seed of actually learning Vedic knowledge. So no matter, so if we have that doubt that I can read on my own without attaching myself to parampara, we cannot. So this is a very, very important point Srila Prabhupada says in purports. I always had that doubt. Till few days back, I would say I always had that doubt. That, but I knew, right? I knew that even though if I don't take initiation, and then if I'm outside of parampara, I won't get the knowledge. I had that conviction, but I had doubt how it works actually. How the whole thing works. So this purport, Srila Prabhupada made it very clear, because unless Prabhupada again says the underlying one, if you read only, The words spoken by Lord are vibrations of transcendental sound, number one. And so unless and until one is inspired by the vibration of transcendental sound, nobody, it cannot be understood by anyone within the universe unless and until one is inspired by the vibration of transcendental sound. So then it actually made clear. And then they cannot be understood unless one is inspired or initiated by the authorized spiritual master. So this is a very, very important point. Bhagavad Gitas were there many years, even before Srila Prabhupada came. So many editions of Bhagavad Gita came, right? So many thousands, maybe 50, 60s easily. At least I don't know, hundreds, maybe even hundreds. Even the Western scholars wrote about Bhagavad Gita. But there was not even a single pure devotee out of it. Because even though the Bhagavad Gita was composed, expressed and everything, but that inspiration didn't come. So because they were not connected to the parampara, so nobody could understand the purport of Bhagavad Gita only. So forget about explaining the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. And because Srila Prabhupada was fully attached to parampara and he had mercy of all the previous acharyas, so he can give us a true meaning of Bhagavad Gita and we can see the results also. So many devotees created just by reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is a very, very important point, first point, that if you have a doubt that I can read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or any book on my own, so we are on a wrong path. So we need to have a conviction, unless I take shelter of a spiritual master, unless I take initiation from him, unless I become a sold out servant of my spiritual master, unless my spiritual master is pleased with me, I cannot get that inspiration of transcendental sound and I cannot understand anything. So this is also Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we all know this verse, Tatvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena seveya updekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So this is the crux of understanding Vedic knowledge. So it's a pretty simple, we cannot understand on our own. So there is a very simple process to be followed that we understand. And first is to attach ourselves with the parampara. And here Krishna says three things. Pranipatena, pariprashnena and sevaya. So it means pranipatena actually kind of means completely kind of a dandvat. And pariprashnena means humble and sincere inquiry. And sevaya means by sincerely service. So these are some of the ways to acquire the knowledge. So just by our intellect we cannot understand things. We have to do some of these basic things. So if we can, so by following this process, even the most illiterate person can become a scholar in Vedic knowledge. So having a degree or thinking ourselves as a big Sanskrit scholar or big scholar like this is actually not a qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita. Pranipatena, pariprashnena and sevya. These are the three qualifications. And now let's see these examples of these things from Bhagavatam. So if you see Bhagavatam, right, it's actually question and answers. It's inquiry and actually response. So most of the time, if you see, we skip how the inquiry is made. That part we sometimes skip. We actually go to, so Parikshit Maharaj asked a very important question that this is what should be the duty of a person at the end of his life. And this is how Shukdev Goswami answered. We focus on that. But it's sometimes we miss that how he actually made that inquiry to Srila Shukdev Goswami. We understand that. Now we understand, see this is not kind of a mundane knowledge between a professor and a student in the class where I can ask a question about geometry or calculus and he can explain me and I can understand. So it's very important to understand how the inquiries are also made. So if you see inquiries of Vidura to Maitreya, inquiries made by Maharaja Parikshit to Shukdev Goswami, inquiries made by Narada Muni to Lord Brahma. If you see, even if you don't understand what inquiries they are making, how they are making the inquiries, that is a very, very important point as well. So we'll see some of those things, how those inquiries are actually made. So we'll not go into details of the inquiries themselves, but how the inquiries are made, so at least we can understand that. So that's why we understand Bhagavatam is not just the explanation of the science of Krishna consciousness. It's actually a practical application. If you can just follow how the things are happening in Bhagavatam, so we should understand it. It's just an explanation explanation of philosophy. The way the things are being done in the Bhagavatam are actually the process of Krishna consciousness. How the way the things happen in Bhagavatam, that's also very, very important. So not just the knowledge present in Bhagavatam. So we see we'll see Maharaja Parikshit to Srila Shukdev Goswami. So that's the first type of inquiries we'll see. How Maharaja Parikshit inquires and what he inquires. That's also a very important point. So we'll see from the first canto. So he starts with, so when the Srila Shukdev Goswami comes on scene and he actually takes the seat, and then Maharaja Parikshit starts the glorification of Srila Shukdev Goswami. So we'll only read, we'll not go into detail. So it's from the chapter, it's from Canto 1, chapter 19, text 33. Simply by remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified, and what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home. So this is no inquiry he's making. He's only glorifying Srila Shukdev Goswami here. And the next we see, just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of Godhead, so also the invulnerable sense of a man are immediately vanquished in your presence, O saint, O great mystic. So we understand from the beginning how humble inquiries, how humbly he is actually approaching Srila Shukdev Goswami. He has not immediately put forward, okay, you are here, so please explain me the purpose of the human form of life. No, he didn't. He didn't want that. He started by glorifying the position of Srila Shukdev Goswami. And I actually only captured two, so there are not just two verses. There are many verses of glorification, but obviously we cannot talk all of them. So I only captured two. But if you're interested, you can read. And then he actually makes the inquiry itself. You are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you. See, I am therefore asking you. It's not like that. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection of all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. See, there are two important things happen here. What inquiry he is making and how he is making an inquiry. How he is making an inquiry? I am therefore begging you to show. He is in a very mood of in a very mood of humility. Maharaja Parikshit is an emperor of the whole planet. And Shukdev Goswami is just a mendicant. He is just begging in front of Shukdev Goswami, please explain me this truth. Maharaja Parikshit is not sitting there in a position of an emperor. He is saying, I am therefore begging you. If you see the pastimes of King Rahugana and Jadabharata, initially Jadabharata was in a position of a king. Other way around. Maharaja Raghuna was in a position of a king. So Jadabharata didn't give any knowledge. But when he came to humble position, then the knowledge was revealed to Maharaja Raghuna. And then the one more important question is, what inquiries he is making? Is he asking that how to earn money and how to get a job and how to become successful, how to get a good wife and good child, good son? Is he asking that question? So see the type of inquiry also. Inquiry should not be whimsical. Inquiry is always in the matter of transcendence. Here is inquiring. See, this inquiry is even actually one stage further. We'll discuss about that. Inquiry should be all pertaining to Krishna consciousness. That how I can progress in Krishna consciousness and how I can help others to progress in Krishna consciousness. Not about Maharaj, I am having a very difficult time materially and what should I do? So this is also not a bad inquiry if you want to follow the advice given. But if you ask how to earn more money, so my spiritual master, Srila Sankarshan Das Adhikari Srila Gurudev, he has an e-course about 30,000 students worldwide. He gets all sorts of emails daily, hundreds of emails, and around more than half of the emails are like this only. Maharaj, I am actually, my wife has run away, please help me. And my son has failed exam, what to do? So you see, these are the inquiries, but we see from here. So in Bhagavatam also teaches us what inquiries to make also. Nowhere Maharaja Parikshit is asking, please save me from the curse of that Brahmana, I will die. Maharaja Parikshit was competent enough to actually repel that purse and counteract that purse. He was competent. He can do that. If Krishna can protect Maharaja Parikshit within the womb of Uttara, so this verse was this curse was nothing in front of that. But he took the curse on his heart and then set it down, taking it as a Krishna's plan. But see, I am therefore begging you. So we approach the spiritual master in a humble way, and then we inquire about the transcendental subject matters. But here actually Maharaja Parikshit goes a stage further. He says perfection. He does not say perfection for me. He says perfection of all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. He is asking on the behalf of everyone. Assume if we come to know I will die tomorrow, will we be in a position to ask about everyone? We will be scared like anything, right? Tomorrow I am going to die, my God, it's gone now. But he is conscious, he is asking about himself, but at the same time he wants to make sure that this path is understood by all. See this inquiry. And if you see the next verse, please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. So this is the real inquiry. What he is inquiring. And now again, right, Suta Goswami said, so this conversation happening between Maharaja Parikshit and Shukdev Goswami. So inquiries are now over, and now Shukdev Goswami will start his reply. Now before that, Suta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage using sweet language. Then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadeva, who knew the principles of religion, began his reply. See, here Suta Goswami says, he questioned the sage using sweet language. So we can understand how Maharaja Parikshit actually put forward his inquiry to Srila Shukadeva Goswami. So that's all we need to learn as well. So when we approach our spiritual master to make an inquiry, that should be in a mood of humility, not in a mood of challenge. Once we make an inquiry in a mood of challenge, we don't get that inspiration to understand the Vedic sound. But once we approach in the mood of humility, no matter how uneducated we are, we'll understand the purport of the Vedic wisdom. Now we'll see one more. The sages of Naimisharanya to Srila Suta Goswami. So this is from the first chapter itself. So glorification, again it starts with glorification. So sages of Naimisharanya are now glorifying Suta Goswami. The sages said, respected Suta Goswami, you are completely free from all vice. You are well versed in all the scriptures, famous for religious life and in the Puranas and the histories as well. For you have gone through them under the proper guidance and have also explained them. Being the eldest learned Vedantist of Suta Goswami, you are acquainted with the knowledge of Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of Godhead, and you also know other sages who are fully versed in all kinds of physical and metaphysical knowledge. So these are only two. I have added 6 and 7, but all verses initially are just glorification by sages of Naimisharanya of actually Suta Goswami, and explaining the position of Suta Goswami and actually acknowledging that position and telling us from, if you see from that, right, you have gone through them under the proper guidance and have also explained them. So we understand the position of Suta Goswami also, that he is also in the parampara and he is also capable of giving the same knowledge which was given exactly by Srila Shukadeva Goswami. And you also know the sages who are fully versed in all kinds of physical and metaphysical knowledge. So basically they say that in these verses, apart from glorifying Suta Goswami, the sages actually clarifies the position of Suta Goswami as an authorized representative of parampara. That's what they actually, by the glorification, they actually emphasize that point also. You are not just any learned scholar. You are completely authorized in the parampara. So you are completely capable of granting that knowledge. Now inquiry. So basically we saw glorification. Okay, so it's a common theme. It's a glorification, inquiry, and then and what type of inquiry, and then the answers will come. So now what inquiry they mix. So there are 6 questions they ask, but I will only put one. Please, therefore, being blessed with many ears, explain to us in an easily understandable way what you have ascertained to be absolute and ultimate good for the people in general. So again we see a common theme, right? They asked for the benefit of all in the humanity. not for their own benefit. So this is a very common theme we see in the Bhagavad Gita also. In the 11th chapter, Arjuna asks Krishna to show the universal form not for himself but for the humanity. Here they ask, explain the path for the benefit of all. And we saw the Maharaja Parikshit asked Shukdev Goswami to explain the path for the benefit of all. So this is a qualification of a great sage. And one more very important point. So basically we also saw the enquiry was all transcendental. So sages of Naimisharanya didn't say, we are doing this yagya, so please do some magic so we can finish the yagya soon. No, so that was not the inquiry, right? So they were determined to do the yagya for 1,000 years, but they realized this is the true yagya here in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, this is a very, very important point. See, these things are hidden in the Bhagavatam. These things are hidden in the verses of Bhagavatam. So we just have to, by the mercy of Prabhupada, we have to understand. Now you see, we saw glorification part, we saw the enquiries, we saw. Now there is a very important point, is eagerness and attentiveness. The sages of Naimisharanya again and again mentions this point to Suta Goswami. They say, "O Suta Goswami, we are eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and His incarnations. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by previous acharyas, for one is uplifted by both speaking them and by hearing them." If you see this verse, we are eager to learn about personality of Godhead. So if the eagerness is not there, nothing will come. So these enquiries are not just enquiries to satisfy some doubt. They are really eager to understand the science of Krishna. Though they are so great sages, but they are eager. They want to know more and more about personality of Godhead, about Krishna. And this is not just in one place they said this. In many verses they say, we are very, very eager to hear what you are saying. So please keep the flow going. Okay, please keep on explaining. The words coming from your mouth is like a nectar, and we are there to hear. So those who are not able to hear, their ears are like a holes where the snake lives. So these kind of verses they explain. Sages of Naimisharanya explaining that about the eagerness and attentiveness about hearing. And in 17 they also say, his transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and the great learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear, again, about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. They ask only 6 questions, sages of Naimisharanya, and here you will see from the mood they are asking. See, we have to understand what they are asking. So that will help us to understand the philosophy. But how they are asking, and the mood they are asking, and how they are approaching the speaker, that is something we need to understand, so we can also develop that mood. Enquiries may not come to us at the moment. I actually asked my spiritual master not long ago, Ki Gurudev, I don't know what to ask. There are so many questions, but somehow I don't know what to ask questions. So then he said, just now you are asking a question only. So I myself had that problem that I actually did not know what to ask. So it's possible we might not have inquiries itself initially, but at least if we can know this process, how to make an inquiry, humble service, eagerness to make an inquiry. At least I should be eager, so I should have some inquiry I should have about Krishna consciousness, so I can progress. That eagerness and the awe and reverence for the Acharya. So if we can meet these qualifications, so then we can, that we saw, right, that inspiration to understand the Vedic sounds, that comes. But if we don't have these qualifications, even though we are reading Srila Prabhupada books, we may not get out of the material existence. Unless we actually approach in this manner in which these sages are approaching to understand the knowledge. Similarly, if you see in 3rd canto, how actually Vidura approaches Maitreya to understand that knowledge. And not just in the beginning, throughout the conversation, how he approaches Maitreya. So that how we approach an Acharya, how we approach a spiritual master, how we make an inquiry, what we make an inquiry, right? Are my feelings sincere? Even though my question be as simple as that, how to understand I am not the body, I am the soul. This is actually a very deep question, but still, assuming from the Bhagavad Gita perspective. So even my inquiry is very simple: how to progress in Krishna consciousness. But if we meet this basic criteria of how to make inquiry and what kind of consciousness to have, then that knowledge actually is revealed. So here, how actually knowledge is revealed, we'll come to that. So it is also mentioned, Yasya deve para bhaktir, yatha deve tatha guru, tasyete katitha yartha, prakashante mahatmana. So what I have spoken till now about that inspiration is actually summarized by this verse. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So this is a very, very important point in understanding the transcendental subject matters, that we don't learn the transcendental subjects like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam by studying in a mundane way. That way we won't get knowledge. We have to follow we have to follow a transcendental approach to understand the transcendental knowledge. So then we understand the transcendental knowledge. And basically we see, right, we don't have to be a scholar. We don't have to be a great learning person. Basic qualities only are required. And then we get the seed of Krishna consciousness. Now there is a very, very important point. It's the last point now. Okay, it's already 11:50 now. Only 2 minutes. Okay. So now the thing is, see, now this is again from the Canto 2nd, 5th chapter. Because I am reading 2nd Canto, so I am getting so many purports on the 2nd Canto only. So now somehow about the faith of the statements. How to have that, see, faith we will have. We can have faith in the statements of Prabhupada that he is beyond the 4 defects. Now, in actually the circles of logic and circles of arguments, the process of Vedic understanding is this: the whatever judgment is made by an authority, that's a final judgment. So that's how we accept the, see, otherwise people can say you are accepting the statements of Prabhupada only on a sentimental basis, right? Even though we may say it's beyond defects and all these things. But in the process of Vedic understanding, and this applies for the impersonalist also, who actually follow the Vedanta and all those things. So in the process of understanding the Vedic knowledge, if an authority in the Vedic knowledge gives a judgment, that judgment is considered a final. So Prabhupada gives a very, I'll explain the background about this explanation. So Prabhupada gives in the purport says, as the decision of the Supreme Court of State is final, similarly the judgment of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe, is final in the Vedic process of acquiring knowledge. So what happens is, Srila Narada Muni sees wonderful acts of Lord Brahma in creation, and he says, maybe you are supreme, but it looks like you are also doing meditation and austerity, so there has to be more supreme. So but that inquiry is again like this process of inquiring, like humbly glorifying, because he understands the position of Lord Brahma. Then Lord Brahma says, I am not the supreme. Hari is the supreme, and whatever I am doing is actually just an inspiration from Krishna, and is already done by him. So that's where Srila Prabhupada comments that when if Lord Brahma is saying that Krishna is supreme, so Lord Brahma is authority in the Vedic knowledge, so we accept Krishna is supreme. So there is no actually, just like a Supreme Court makes a judgment, everybody has to follow that judgment. So similarly, if an authority like Lord Brahma gives a judgment about someone, like he says, Ishvara Parama Krishna, right? And Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadir Anid Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam, cause of all causes. If Lord Brahma is saying Krishna is cause of all causes, so that's a judgment by Lord Brahma. That's how we actually take the Vedic authority. Because the statement is given by Lord Brahma, who is authority to give Vedic statements. So just like a person has to accept the decision of a Supreme Court, no matter what, there is no court higher than Supreme Court, you have to accept the decision. So if an authority like Brahma is giving a judgment about somebody, about himself, like Brahma himself, and about Krishna, that judgment is final. So that's why if we read Brahma Samhita, so we understand the complete process of Krishna consciousness in Brahma Samhita. He gives this, so Brahma Samhita was composed by Lord Brahma in his mature spiritual realization. So Brahma Samhita is a very, very deep understanding of Krishna consciousness, about a pure devotional service about Krishna. And we see in Bhagavad Gita also. Arjuna says, Sarvam etad ritam manne yanmam vadasi Keshava nahi tat bhagavan vyaktim vidur deva na danava. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Arjuna is not challenging Krishna. See, Arjuna had lot of doubts. Right? We know that Arjuna had lot of doubts. It's a conversation, Bhagavad Gita. But Arjuna is not challenging Krishna. He is saying, Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. And in 10.12, what is this? In that Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Deva Madam Vibhum, and this, and that. Ahustam Rishya Sarve, Devarshis Naradas Tata, Asito Devlo Vyasa, Swam Cheva Bravishime. He is saying, not me, Narada, Asita, Devla, Vyasa, they are also confirming the truth about you. So people should not misunderstand it because Krishna is my friend, I am speaking all these flattery subjects. He says, I am accepting the truth, all you have told me, not just me, all the previous acharyas also do the same. So now we'll conclude. So we understand from whom to inquire. So we have to avoid the bogus gurus and we have to inquire from a bona fide spiritual master who is in the parampara. What to inquire? We understand we have to inquire about the transcendental matters. But actually, if something is going wrong in our personal life and we are having some difficulty in progress in Krishna consciousness because of that, that inquiry can be made as well. But if you are asking about some material benefits, that is wrong inquiry. Say if somebody is some kind of problem is having in personal life and someone is struggling to progress in Krishna consciousness, so that can be asked. And how to inquire? So we learn about utmost awe and reverence and in eagerness and attentiveness and not challenging mood and sincere and humble service. So if we can just follow these small points, then what happens? All the imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. So this is what is a Vedic process of understanding. This is what is the process of understanding Vedic knowledge, a perfect Vedic knowledge. So I think that's all is we have. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll take one question, just one question we'll take, and only one we'll take, and then because it's already 11:20. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes.
Thank you very much for every time when we hear from you, such a nice compilation and giving that how to inquire, what should be removed and what should be inquired. And when we hear from you, we get a very good clarity and the confidence and conviction that everything is in Srila Prabhupada's purpose.
So that's the mercy of Srila Gurudev. Actually, before you ask regarding this point, so what happens? So it happens in the process, right? Basically, you will Prabhu is saying some good things about me. Though I'm not qualified, he's still saying some good things. So we should be hot potatoes. Say, assume somebody throws a hot potato at you. Hot potato, right? Baked hot potato. So you won't keep the hot potato. Haath jal jayega. So you get the potato, throw it away immediately. So that's how devotees take credit. So whenever they get a credit, they just give it back to their guru. Or they just pass it on. So it's like a hot potato. We have to be careful about hot potato. Don't take hot potato, otherwise it will burn the hands. Always. And I'm not doing hot potato, I'm sincerely saying whatever if you think you like, it's truly because of my Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada. His Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. So our request is that please, as regularly you are coming, please come and
Yes,
give us
Prabhupada.
such a fantastic way and compilation of Srila Prabhupada's purpose. And even I remember the last time that you have given, it's a very high level of compilation. So we are already running out of time. Just one question or one comment and one question. You mentioned about the literature.
Right.
So recently, just before yesterday, we are Bhakti Bible class and the instructor Prabhu was saying that one person outside of Srila Prabhupada, he went to study Stephen Covey's how to be a successful person. And initially, it just was inquiry. Eventually, it happened that he became a follower of Stephen Covey and left ISKCON.
Yeah, so that's a big risk. That's a huge risk
I
happens.
just wanted to put that from. And the
Yeah.
question is that the question is not really. You mentioned that one should be in a submissive mode. What if somebody is in a challenging? What are the challenges? And what is the problem if somebody is going with the challenging mode?
So the first thing, if somebody is going through this challenging mood, is to acknowledging that he is having this problem of challenging the authority. So first is that acknowledgement. So because unless you acknowledge, so we can't correct the problem. So if you think मेरे में कोई गलती नहीं है, I am perfect. So but if we have this kind of attitude, we cannot correct it. So first thing, if you think that okay, I have this problem of becoming challenging, I have this problem. So this acknowledgement is the first step in correction. And then the second practical way to, I think, deal with this problem is take up some menial service in the temple. So for example, if you take any service like washing the floor or washing the dishes or serving some devotees, so that humbleness will automatically come. So then I think this problem will automatically go away. So the problem comes because we are not humble. We are actually puffed up rascals. So but once we actually acknowledge the problem, that opens the path. But if we don't acknowledge the problem only, then there is no solution to that problem. So then what happens in that case? So we'll challenge the authority, we'll argue with it, we'll keep on committing offenses, and as you said, Prabhuji, right, we'll go out of this con. So acknowledging that I have some problem is the first step, and taking some menial service in the temple, any small service in temple, that will greatly help. Any kind of menial service. Okay, so Vijay Narasimha Prabhu is looking me every time, so I'll stop now. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.